Welcome back everyone, and you're watching my series on cabin crew questions and answers, possible questions that the recruiters might ask you during your open day, during your assessment day. The list is constantly getting upgraded. I'm constantly getting new questions that you're asking me to answer and to give you an idea how to answer, as that is something to the, it's a subject to a change. It is determined by current happenings, in-flight happenings and challenges that the current cabin crew are facing. Therefore, they are implementing those situations and creating the new questions that you guys coming up with and that you guys are keep on hearing from the candidates. So here are another questions, 10 questions in this video that the recruitment team might ask you. My name is Julia George. I come from North Macedonia. I'm an ex-cabin crew that flew for Qatar Airways for the past 10 years, where I have resigned from my last work position as a cabin service director. What challenge do you think Qatar Airways will face in future, and how could you as a cabin crew help us to overcome them? You won't go over here if you mention that one of the challenges that it's currently being faced and will be perhaps facing in future for Qatar Airways is the rise of the social media. Customer satisfaction has never traveled faster than it is right now. Therefore, we are facing and we will be facing with customers who perhaps won't be happy with their in-flight service, with their overall trip satisfaction. Now, it is very important over here that we focus on the customer satisfaction on each customer we are going to be serving in the aircraft. So over here, when you will be coming up with the solution of how you can overcome this, you can use the sentence actually from the Qatar Airways website, where they say impossible is only a challenge and together we can turn challenges into triumphs. So you can say that this challenge, working together with your crew members and being part of the cabin crew members team, is something that will give you an opportunity to turn it into a triumph. By knowing the product, you are working as a cabin crew in the aircraft and you have so many products that you are going to be serving to the passengers. Therefore, you're going to know the product. You will never leave the customers unattended. You will always give them a solution, and you will make sure that every customer you are serving and it's on your flight is disembarking the aircraft with a satisfaction and being happy. And this is a work culture that you are going to be emphasizing to the rest of the crew members. If you answer this question like this, the recruitment team will be very, very happy. The number one thing is that you know what you're saying in terms of you know that there is a product called Qatar Airways. The number two very important thing, you took the time to explore and used actually a sentence that was on their website. Remember, their website is a great source in which you can take sentences from there and incorporate them in your answers, and you will display a serious amount of learning skills for the potential cabin crew member. If you're successful in becoming cabin crew member in Qatar Airways, how do you think you will cope with the lifestyle? Remember that I told you at the beginning, these questions are coming up more and more due to the current situation and the current struggles that the current cabin crew are having. Therefore, they're incorporating and they're looking for candidates that will not be later on struggling with the lifestyle. So therefore, you will always say that you have been informed, or perhaps you have been a cabin crew before and you already know about the lifestyle, and you have already read and prepare about a profession that is going to be different, and it is different from the current one. So how you gonna cope with it? You're gonna plan. You are going to be referring to your roster. You are fully aware that as a cabin crew you will be having your schedule. You will be dividing your duties and you will be separating your spare time from your work. It is very important that you show that you are able to prioritize. You will be ensuring that you are always well rested for every flight. Therefore, you will be able to perform your duties on the flight without hesitation. Later on, you will be planning your free time in order to be happy, in order to be productive. Remember, it's very important, how do we spend our free time? And overall, when you will be answering this question, you will be having an idea of what does the cabin crew lifestyle means, and that you are someone who actually knows how to plan your own life. What makes you better than the next candidate? I would answer this question in a way, first of all, I would like to apologize and say that I do not know personally the candidate after me, but I strongly believe that we all as humans, we have our own unique qualities, and I believe that we all together can work in a team that can contribute towards a great success for the airline, don't forget the sentence over here. We are all can be committed to the fact that impossible can be a challenge for us, and that we all together can turn challenges into triumphs. If you're using sentences like this and you give a respect to the people around you, you will be considered as a serious candidate for the job position cabin crew. Under no circumstances, please don't say I'm better than the other candidates. Please always show respect for the other candidates and always value other people. How would you deal with somebody who was part of the cabin crew team who was not doing their job properly during a flight? This is something that happens very frequently during the flight, and they basically want to know, and I have answered this question previously in my long videos, but I'm going to tell you once again. They basically want to know, are you a person who's going to straight away go and report and create that negative work environment, or you're actually someone who's going to go and help that person to find out actually what is wrong? So you will never go wrong if you say, perhaps I will try to find a way to approach that person. First, I will help that person and show that I'm there for that person in order that person not to feel abandoned. Perhaps there is a reason that something is happening. Perhaps in the time you're going to go and help that person will flip and will start doing their job and will appreciate what you're doing. But it's very, very important that you try to find out what's wrong. You try to help. You are there for that person. You're not just a crew member who's gonna abandon that person, go and report to the CS and feel like you have done a great job. That is not what the recruiters are looking for. And then later on, if you would like to mention this as a last resort of your answer, you should always say that you tried to approach the person, you tried to find out what's wrong, you were observing that the behavior of that person was impacting the customer service, and your obligation as a crew member was not to allow that to happen. Therefore, you must go to the supervisors and you must speak with your supervisor in order to highlight and prevent the future customer experience to go worst. Therefore, you have done that. But prior to say this, you actually have to show a certain level of maturity in terms of showing care and offering help to the person who's not doing their job in the aircraft. Tell me, what do you think it will be like working for Qatar Airways cabin crew? Again, answering every question using the guidelines from the website, it will be straight away to the point. Over there, it's written that you should have an ability to work in a multinational team. So you can always say that I believe that working for Qatar Airways cabin crew team will be an amazing experience, as I'm going to be surrounded with people from all over the world. I'm so much looking forward to be part of a multinational team. I strongly believe that my outgoing personality and my great interpersonal skills are going to perfectly fit in creating stories for the passengers that I will be interacting together with my team members. I'm looking forward to this lifestyle. I'm fully committed to it and I'm fully ready for it. Show that you have something called as beside a desire, but something called as a commitment, and that you have that motivation which is driving you to be part of the multinational team. You will not go wrong if you use this aspect in creating your answer. As a cabin crew, how would you deal with emotion? I have made a video about emotional intelligence, and this is the confirmation. This question is a confirmation on why I have done the video about emotional intelligence. It's right here. Please have a look at that video. The emotion aspect being as a cabin crew, it's important as many times, not many times, we're all the time surrounded with people from all over the world, and people behave differently for the simple reason many aspects are influencing the behavior. So we must first of all, answering this question, we must first say that we will first of all acknowledge emotions. Emotions are something that must not be forgotten, not looked at. It must be acknowledged. Second, must be given an importance and must correspond towards the emotion accordingly. What does that mean? If you have a passenger that is upset, you cannot go to that passenger or crying. You cannot go to that passenger with your 5-star smile. You must approach that person with a care. Perhaps first of all offering something to drink, make that person feel comfortable. So you will always acknowledge the emotion and you will always find a suitable way to approach the emotion and to correspond to it in order not to worsen. Because remember, if a person is crying and we approach that person smiling, we can actually make that first person to feel worse. So therefore, regarding emotional intelligence, it is very important. Please have a look at my video. When have you been flexible in a previous work situation? Very important question. Actually, the recruitment team is looking for flexible candidates, as again, this is something that comes up from the current struggles in flight. Many times the crew members are not flexible to in their work-related duties, as they're commenting, "This is not my job, it's not my zone, I don't want to do this," and stuff like that. Now, in order to save this type of situations on board, the recruitment team is actually popping up this question and is asking to seek, are you actually a flexible person? So a great answer to this would be that you have been flexible to take a shift of your colleague to your previous job in order to help that person. Perhaps that person needed few days off, or you needed to help him, so you were a flexible person to take an extra workload on you, and it was not a problem for you. Now, if you have been a fresher, you can always relate this example from your studies, from your personal life. Perhaps you stayed all night and you were helping to your sister or to your brother to study. You were flexible. You didn't show that at that particular time your sleep was more important for you, although you didn't have nothing to do the next day. But rather than that, you showed flexibility and you showed care. It is very important that you show care. These are the type of candidates that the recruiters are looking for. At Qatar Airways, we pride ourselves as best customer service. What is the best example of customer service that you have come up across? Now, you have to be able to say this from your own personal example. Remember, you must not invent. I really don't like if somebody is lying, and I'm very much able to see when somebody is lying. So think of a situation where you have been a customer in a restaurant, in a pharmacy, in an institution, and when somebody has served you so well, okay, it didn't say, "Hi, welcome, how are you?" and stuff like that, but actually did something to make you feel better. Perhaps you were a passenger on board a flight and the crew did a surprise for you. They gave you a birthday cake. Just mention a thing, or you were in the school. Doesn't necessarily has to be in the customer service, but you were in your school and your friends did something for you that was beyond your expectation. You were not planning that. Show that you have an eye for a detail. This is going to show to the recruitment team that you can be a potential candidate who can be part of a team who later on is going to be creating stories and will be a part of a team who's going to be creating great customer service, actually best customer service experience, as it is mentioned over here. You need to be thinking of a situation where you experienced things that were beyond your expectations. What makes a successful cabin crew team? To me, a successful cabin crew team is a team where everyone knows their duties and their responsibilities. Not by only knowing their duties and responsibilities, but everyone is performing their duties and responsibilities cheerful, happy, in a great mood. That is something that is pretty much reflecting during the entire atmosphere in the flight. It is very important that the crew members are looking at each other with the support. You can see when the cabin crew members are communicating with a dose of support and acknowledgement. The other thing is, when you are struggling as a crew member, you are instantly getting helped, and you don't even actually ask to be helped, because your crew members around you are so much observant that it feels so pleasant to be in that team. Another thing, successful team member always believes that impossible is only a challenge, and that together we can turn challenges into triumphs. Basically, a successful team doesn't see challenges as obstacles. Rather than that, we are seeing challenges as something that we can win in, we can benefit, and we can bring an excellent customer service experience to the passengers. Bringing passengers from point A to point B safely, it's excellent, it's great, but service related, a great team, a great cabin crew team is a team that goes beyond the expectations of the customers constantly. Do you have any questions for the panel? Now, if you get this question from the recruitment team, they're basically asking you, do you have any questions for us? It is very good. It shows that they have liked your answers, or they are considering you as a valid member, potential crew member. It is very important that you're prepared on what you're gonna answer. and you don't say no. When you have been asked this question, do you have any questions for us? You never say no, I don't. Rather than that, you must express something called interest, and the best interest to express at this time is to show your absolute desire for a career growth within the company. So you can always say, according to your valuable experience as a recruiter within the best airline in the world, Qatar Airways, can you please tell me how long it takes to progress from cabin crew member in economy class to cabin crew member in business class, because I'm really looking forward being part of your team. Very important. If you straight away go and say how long it takes to become a recruiter, you're straight away skipping the other roles, and you're skipping the other jobs before becoming a recruiter, because this actually happened to one of the candidate before. He straight away told them that he wants to be a recruiter and he wants to know how. Don't forget that you have one position you're starting in, which is a cabin crew member in economy class, and then the other one is cabin crew member in business class, in first class. So therefore you are very interested in your career growth, but with the stages. That will definitely show a respect. You're not underestimating the other roles and the other cabin crew jobs that are leading you towards becoming a cabin crew recruiter. When being prepared to answer this question, at the same time, do not overload the recruitment team with questions. This question is completely enough. Listen carefully and do not take more time, as they are having most probably many other interviews after this. With having all this said, I have completed the frame of 10 new questions that the recruitment team might ask you. Nevertheless, don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit the notification as well, in order for the new videos that are coming up from the episode of questions and answers that the cabin crew team or the recruitment team might ask you during the open day and during the assessment day. And I'm going to be seeing you very soon. Until then, stay blessed, bye bye, and have a nice day.